Oh my God. Oh my God. So, first off, the first thing I noticed are these Gibson Embossed Tuners, which...
They're called humbuckers.
Yeah. My wires get crossed. It's not, like someone got mad at me the other day, like some troll was like, it's not a Hummingbird, it's an SJ Deluxe. And I like kindly wrote back, I'm like, I'm sorry, I just woke up, you're right, good call. And then he like continued to troll me, like, what do you know? What do you, like, man, like I made a mistake, like we make mistakes. I also cross my wires because this is what happens when you smoke too much weed. I open this up and these chrome things that shine at me like the heavens above. And they say my favorite thing, Gibson. You just look right down here and it says Gibson. And you could see your face in it. I could see my face over the Gibson logo. And there's just something about that that's happiness. It's like, you know, when you get to that transcendental level, when you're like truly one with nature and you think to yourself that nothing really matters. That's how I feel when I stare at myself tripping on acid in the Gibson humbucker. See Mona Lisa. All right, that said, this is the first thing that popped out and I think it's awesome. It's also indicative of a lot of the Norland era Gibsons. They're great. And for a long time, people thought that Norland, so 70s era Gibsons were kind of junk or they were paperweights. But there's some cool guitars. The 2550, the Artisan, the Les Paul, the RD Artist. There's like a lot of cool guitars. They got a bad rap for a long time. This is a 1972. And you know it's the TD. So it's an ES-335, but you know it's a TD. And one of the ways that you know it's a TD is because it has these inlays, which ironically, even though it's rarer, make it less valuable. Not that this isn't a valuable guitar, but the dot, which is what, like, you know, people, the 1959 ES-335 dot that is all natural is basically the most expensive. And you'd think it wouldn't be, but that's what people want. So the fact that it actually has the inlays makes it the ES-335 TD, which again, not a bad thing. Touchdown, it's a good thing. He got a TD, but like value-wise, it doesn't help. The Gibson pickups, you don't see this on all of them. This is a sign of the wonkiness of the 70s. So Jim's trying to tell me 72. I bet you there's ones in 75 going out with Gibson. Because here's what Gibson did. They literally just took whatever they had in the back room and they put it on guitars. Like I have, you know, I'll show you right now. Someone's gonna tell me I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I don't know. I went on some site and I believe that this headstock logo for Gibson was only made until 1934. But the first year of the Gibson L30 is 1935. Which tells me that this may have been a leftover 1934 neck. A 1935 guitar, which dates this to be an early L30. Now, I could be wrong, because here's the thing about guitar collecting. Someone's gonna tell me I'm wrong, but here's the thing, and I say that a lot. Don't be a jerk. Here's why. Learning's a cool thing. Being wrong is cool if you can learn something from it and no one's hurt, okay? So some troll telling you that that's not the right thing or this, that's not the kind of person you want to listen to. You want to listen to somebody with some logic who actually wants to help you. Help people and don't tear down people if I say it's a Hummingbird and it's an SJ. Say, hey man, it's an SJ. And I'd go, yeah, I actually have both. I just got my wires crossed. Back to the puppy footage. Here's what I also noticed immediately. I love these tuners. I love these Tulip Tuners because they didn't do this all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's look at these tuners, okay? We'll put them right next to each other. They don't have the little thing in the thingy thing. They don't have them, they only got one.
And they're double ring.
That's what I'm saying. They're double ring. I don't know what those are called. They're double ring?
The little grommets.
That's what I'm saying. Oh.
Way better than the fucking big old screws on them.
Oh yeah, no, totally. But I'm saying I noticed that from a million miles away, and that's not something you see on even many ES-335. I suspect it might have been just a TD thing, because the TD was actually supposed to be the touchdown. It was supposed to be the slightly higher one with the nicer appointments, and this one says Gibson on it. So I bet you the Gibson, the ES-335s, the non-TDs probably didn't have that. Literally, you could probably, there's somebody going around with a real Explorer with, like, you know, a Les Paul that was made in the Gibson factory, because there were some crazy people that made some crazy, strange, there were strange days in Gibson, and they had a lot of parts lying around. That's the reason, like, you hear of like a 1963 Flying V. They made them in 58. in 59. I think they made them in 60. Maybe they didn't make them in 60. I don't know. 58, 59, I think is what they made them. But you hear them going out as late as 1963, which makes it a 63, but they're always dated because what it was is they weren't a popular model. So they're like, oh, well, we made a bunch of these because you had to set up the machine this way. So here's a bunch of flying V-bodies, and here's a bunch of this weird shape we call the Explorer, and here's the Modern that doesn't really exist, but it does exist. Now the important thing. Let's take it out. Let's take a look at this thing. I really dig how sick this wood was. Because when you see the figuring, that's usually indicative of sick wood. If your wood's sick, it probably looks beautiful. This is a nice back. I gotta tell you, I love the color. It's like a very gentle cherry, honey, a little bit of a butterscotch, just things that make you feel warm and fuzzy. It's warm, like when you think of warm on Adobe, when you're putting like that filter on your selfie. You're like, oh, I wanna make it warm, and your face is like right in the middle there. And you can see it because there isn't that much belt buckle mark on this. Like, this is a survivor, as Beyonce would say. And then on the back of the headstock, you have what is such a sign of the 70s of the Norland era, the Volute. Now, some people think that this is an eyesore. This is a smart move because people like myself and Jim break headstocks. At least when we were playing and we weren't locked up in COVID and wearing masks all the time and all that, and we actually threw guitars at things. This is like Eddie Van Halen's fake hip. That's why I could still do those splits in air up until that last tour, man. He did it. He did it because he had the Volute in here, the Volute in there. And that's how Eddie did it. And I think the most important thing we should do, because I know everyone's sick of hearing me, we should absolutely go play this. And I gotta say that this bridge, it's all shiny and it's nice and it's pretty. And I gotta say, for the price that I know that Jim got this for, I wouldn't be upset if I stole it from him. And I'm not upset that it's not in the original case. So let's go plug this fucker in.
Wait. Now examine it one more time.
What's wrong with it? Did I have a headstock break? Did I miss something?
Nobody could verify, but there's some, I suspect the neck may have been reset. The most giving sign is the white, but there's a splotch here.
Yeah, so, okay, I see what you're talking about. So basically in the paint, somebody has like craftily worked in like a black splotch, and maybe they did take the neck off. To be completely honest with you, good for you. Because I just turned this around and I didn't notice. I mean, that is a splotch, but like Gibson also did weird stuff like that. So that's not that strange. But if the neck needed to be reset because it was at some weird angle or something, like do it. Do it. I mean, not on a 1912 Martin. I found that out, like keep it original if it still plays. But like for the most part, if you need to reset your guitar neck or do something like that, just go to somebody that you trust. Don't let Gizmo touch that. I don't know, man.
I know.
Here's the thing is, I don't know if it affects the value, but I don't really care.
I didn't care either.
Plays nice, and I mean, if someone did this, but like this is like, it's not a bad, I mean, this is kind of like, looks like they kind of didn't fade it that well, but like that's also something that Gibson could have done with a stain in 1972.
I've seen worse.
I've seen way worse from Gibson. Like the fact, like just their wood grading system, and even if they had done this, look at the quality, like look at this in the light, like look at the 3D of like the maple, the bird's eye kind of sticking out on this. It's like a cool piece of wood. And I'm not saying it's like the flamiest or the eyes on you, but like most of these are pretty plain, man. Can we just talk about like that Gibson has no wood control? Gibsons have passed off AA that have been like barely Bs or BB pluses and 5As that have been, they are so inconsistent with their woods. Even now, I love Gibsons. I really love Gibsons, but like I don't understand why a Coreline Supreme has better quality wood than, you know, a $7,000 or $8,000 custom. I don't understand that. And don't get me wrong, I love the Supremes. I love them. But they're the only guitars for the most part that have consistent woods. That's like the Wagyu beef that you pay like at Michael Jordan's like $30 an ounce for. So people wonder why I call, you know, pickups tuning pegs and shit. It's because I got glaucoma. Just give me the fucking guitar. So the first thing is, I really like the tuners on this because even though it's from 1972 and it's pushing 50 years old, these tuners are really, they're stiff and so far seem pretty freaking stable to me. I love these Gibson Necks. These early 70s necks they're not the fat 50s necks, which I know a lot of people love, like that 59 profile, but I really dig this super, super slim. It's almost so skinny that it's kind of hard to play stuff that it's like meant for like small hands. I love the metal pick, especially for the pull-offs. I can't really sweep pick, but I try, and I actually hold my pick not dissimilar to Marty Friedman. I just can't play like him. This is exactly what I want a lead humbucker to sound like. I suck. Oh, listen to that. Listen to that butter. Right in the middle position, the butter. Do I have to say any more? Butter. So I like the fact that it's got so much butter, but at the same time, when I still play, it has like the trebles and the trebles. It has the treble and cuts through. You'd almost think that was a lead pickup if you didn't hear like that. It's a really, really, really nice sound. All right, we should change it to something a little bit less distorted so we can kind of clean this thing up. I like the Colonial 1.4. So like this is great because it really has a lot of headroom as far as the amp's concerned. Like you have no distortion. So this is a Dumble. It's basically like a hot rodded Fender. So I went through a Bogner, but this is like the ultimate tone machine. So let's do the G chord again. I give it like a 9.8. I think this is just a tone machine. Like all these vintage Gibsons, like look, I played 50s ones, I played 60s ones, I played 70s ones. There's good ones and there's bad ones. I mean, I will say that overall, I've yet to meet a 50s one I didn't like. But Norland era, hit or miss. This is a hit. Right on the money. In the 7th, bases loaded. Why don't you fucking smash that subscribe button already?